In my humble opinion, the greatest and biggest challenge and maybe opportunity for large language model at the moment is to extend their powerful capabilities to solve problems beyond the data on which they have been trained and to achieve comparable results with the data the LLM has never seen. This is where retrieval augmented generation or RAG technique is used a lot. This is a technique to search for information based on a user query and then it provides the results as a reference or context for an AI answer to be generated. RAG is quite an important part of most LLM based tools, and the majority of RAG approaches are using vector similarity as the search technique. This is where this new research GraphRAG has been introduced by Microsoft Research. This is a significant advance in enhancing the capability of LLMs. GraphRAG uses LLM generated knowledge graphs to provide substantial improvements in question and answer performance when conducting document analysis of complex information. This is a research paper which has been used on the basis of this GraphRAG. And this is a blog post where Microsoft has described in great detail as what exactly entails to GraphRAG, and this is what we are going to review in this video. I will also drop the link to this in video's description so that you can also read along. Now, in order to prove the power of prompt augmentation when performing discovery on private dataset, they have given lots of examples. They have defined private dataset as a data that LLM is not trained on and has never seen before, such as an enterprise proprietary research, business documents, or communication. Baseline RAG was created to help solve this problem, but they have observed situations where baseline RAG prompt performs very poorly. For example, baseline RAG struggles to connect the dot. This happens when answering a question requires traversing disparate pieces of information through their shared attribute in order to provide new synthesized insights. Also, baseline RAG performs poorly when being asked to holistically understand, summarize semantic concept over large data collections or even singular larger documents. And that is where, if we want to implement RAG in an enterprise level with a huge corpus of data, will be the proprietary one, then GraphRAG really makes sense. So, in order to address these challenges, the tech community everywhere in big enterprises or the open source is really working hard to develop methods to extend and enhance RAG, and Llama Index is one popular example of it. Now, Microsoft's research's new approach, GraphRAG, uses the LLM to create a knowledge graph based on the private dataset. This graph is then used alongside graph machine learning to perform prompt augmentation at query time. GraphRAG shows substantial improvement in answering two classes of questions, like demonstrating intelligence or mastery that outperforms other approaches previously applied to private dataset. Now, look at this example. The question which has been asked from the GraphRAG is like, what is Novorossiya? Now, if you check it out, this is an exploratory query which they have posed to both a baseline RAG system and to their new approach, GraphRAG. So baseline is of course on the left hand side and GraphRAG is on the right hand side. And in these results, you can see that both systems have performed well, highlighting a class of query in which baseline RAG performs well. Then they are exploring further. We are connecting the dots. So they have asked what has Novorossiya done, and now look at the response. Baseline RAG has just given one liner here, and if you look at the source documents which have been provided into the context window here in this figure 1, you can see that context is there, but GraphRAG has really thrown it out of the park and performed awesomely well with its answer. So what is happening here is that GraphRAG's approach discovered an entity in the query, Novorossiya. This allows the LLM to ground itself in the graph and result in a superior answer that contains provenance through links to the original supporting text. For example, you can see that in the exact content the LLM used for LLM generated statement, Novorossia has been implicated in plans to blow up a team, and then it has just received a snippet from the source document that the LLM used to support the assertion that there was a target, and in short words, the GraphRAG was able to get the whole picture around it. And if you just scroll down in the same blog, you can see this is where it has picked it up. Now, they have also given a lot more detail here that how exactly it is doing it, and then they have also given the example around whole dataset reasoning and a lot of very good examples which you can go through this. Now, if you want to create LLM knowledge graphs, this is how it looks like. Now, the basic flow that underpins GraphRAG is consists of the LLM processes, the entire private dataset, and private dataset means the dataset which LLM has never seen, creating references to all entities and relationships within the source data, which are then used to create an LLM generated knowledge graph. This graph is then used to create a bottom up clustering that organizes the data hierarchically into semantic clusters. This partitioning allows for pre-summarization of semantic concepts and themes which aid in holistic understanding of dataset. At query time, both of these structures are used to provide material for LLM context window when answering a question. Now, this is still an evolving research. By combining LLM generated knowledge graph and graph machine learning, GraphRAG enables us to answer important classes of questions that we cannot attempt with baseline RAG as we have just seen. So I think that this research will continue and we will see more and more application of this technology to a variety of scenarios, including social media, news article, workplace productivity, and a lot of other things. Let me know your thoughts on it. I think pretty promising. Please share your opinion in the comments, and if you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're already subscribed, then please share it among your network as it helps. Thanks for watching.